because as we've seen in the comments, you've noticed that Nick isn't here. No, David. Nick will not be here. I command this show, David. Let's go. It's been 10 minutes. All right, it's been 5 minutes. All right.
I'm keeping count. No, there's no restriction. Listen, before the show started, I'm gonna let you finish. But before the show started, I comically put to the group that we take a vote by majority vote that a certain member of the trio be limited to the use of one pun using the word command per 15 minutes. And then we said, no, we're not going to do that. We just want to let you know that we know it's coming. So that's 2. We've been on for 8 minutes and 29 seconds. We 2 in. So I'm keeping count. And you see, look, I don't forget the church figure. You see me doing this, I'm just counting.
Let's go. Yo, we see all of you in the comments. Sydney, David, Katie. Wendy's back. What's going on?
Yeah,
Wendy?
hey,
so
Wendy.
Glad you got the W. We are commanders.
Hey, hold on, sir. OG, Godfather, with your esteemed permission, we forgot to shout somebody out. You know, it does dishonor when we don't pay homage to everyone that's due their homage.
Come on, now.
We're forgetting someone. We're forgetting someone special. I don't see them in the comments, but I'm sure that they will see this later. So we want to send a shout out, a special shout out, and condolences to our friend, your other half of the Down and Dirty. Does that make me crazy crew?
Oh yeah,
Janae, we understand the pain that you must be going through right now to see your squad fall and to see the squad that you hate so much reign victorious. But do understand that there are those of us that though we share in your pain, because our squads are not as mighty as yours, that are internally laughing our faces off right now.
Let's go. Great command of that segment, my friend.
13 seconds.
Let's go. Yes. You like that? You absolutely right. I like that. I can finally say that. But look, we got to get into the show. We see all of you here. This is
Hi, everybody.
The Roundtable. We are so glad you were able to join us. So let's get right into it. You know how every game starts. It starts with the coin toss. Yeah, buddy. And ladies and gentlemen, normally we go around and talk about certain topics, but there's only one thing we're talking about right now. David, stay tuned. The Washington Commanders beat Philly. Let's go. For all of you that hit me up last night, you know I wanted to go on live last night, but I didn't. I waited for today. And you know what? I'm not going to talk. I'm going to let other people talk. Delilah, me and you talked before. A lot of these Monday night and Sunday night and Thursday night games are terrible. This was a good game, Delilah.
This was a good game. It was fun, actually. It was exciting to watch. I actually like that both teams actually scored. It wasn't like 16-13 and something awful like that, you know. So it was actually really fun. Both football. It was fun to watch, and we knew that the Eagles at some point were gonna catch an L, and it just happened that it was the division game, and it was the Commanders that gave them that L. Like, I feel like it's not impossible, but I think those years where we started to see teams just go like undefeated. I don't know if we can get back to that, you know, just the way the league is. But hey, you know what? That was a fun game. Like, you know, I ain't gonna hate on either team, but kudos to the Commanders for getting the W over the Eagles. Like, seriously, like that was fun. It was fun to watch.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, and you know it was fun for me. But even from like a you know,
just football,
from a football standpoint, from breaking it down, it was a great game because we had to play almost a perfect game. And that first half, we played pretty solid. And now I'm going to come to you, Anthony, because one of the things that I noticed is that, you know, through eight games, the Eagles had never trailed. So in that second half, Jalen Hurts kind of had this look on his face that was kind of familiar, like when he was in college, where it was kind of like, like kind of sulking, like, ugh, like, so does this mean the Eagles?
That same look that he had when Nick Saban bitched him for a guy that wound up playing quarterback for Miami?
Speak on it. I mean, because look,
Jalen, miss your face.
We know how you feel, but look, I mean, they're still 8-1, but at the same time, you know, we kind of gave a blueprint: run the ball, keep that offense off the field, and frustrate Jalen Hurts. Man, what do you think?
You hit it right on the head. The first time I saw, you know, I have a little deeper. For those folks that didn't know Jalen before he got drafted, I have a little deeper background with Jalen about 5.5 years back, where if you got him rattled in any way, shape, form, or fashion, he would slowly start to come unglued. And the more you rattle him, the more the fabric would start to come apart.
Yep.
And he didn't necessarily come unglued, but it was, I'm not even gonna lie to you, bro. I was just hoping y'all would keep the game competitive, and I was cooking. And then I was like, oh snap, you know what? I can pull up the app on my phone and watch it through the, you know, the cable app and with the virtual remote. Oh, yeah. And I pulled it up and I said to my wife, holy, they're winning. I did the sound effect myself. Did you like that?
I like that. That was nice. He comes with his own sound effects.
Yeah.
I said, my wife said, what? I said, I kid you not. The Washington Commanders are 3-deep winning. And she said, for real though? Because this is my wife who sat and watched her team lose to the Packers yesterday. Mm-hmm. But bruh, I started watching, and Heineke stayed calm. He stayed cool. You know, they had a couple of drives fall flat. They didn't get frustrated. Brian Robinson Jr., you can't tell me he got shot in the leg. That boy was out there hustling.
He was cooking.
That boy was out there hustling. I think he went to the same doctors and put the $6 million man back together. We can make him better. We can make him stronger. Well, he was out there hustling. The defense, oh my God. That Chase Young, when Jalen tried to scramble and Chase just broke the block off, he did this. Watch the slow-mo. He did this with one hand to the defender. With his other arm, he just reached out and grabbed Jalen and said, where you going? And then just laid on top of it. He deboed Jalen. Listen, I'm not a Commanders fan by any stretch. I'm not a hater either. But that was a phenomenal game by the Commanders yesterday. A phenomenal game. And you're right. That's what they had to do. The catch with Scary Terry down on the right. But I was just watching this game like,
yeah.
Because, you know, I know what I saw the series, the games before. So, you know, again, I'm going to go ahead and tip my hat. I'll say it. Kudos to you boys, man. They did what they had to do.
And they came correct. But in the end of the day, we did the same thing we did in the first game. We shut down the running game. They got under 100 yards again this time. But this time we were able to shut down the pass. But I do want to go back to something he said, Delilah. He talked about our running back. I was screaming when he scored that touchdown and put his arm in there. And I was saying, ain't no bullet can stop him. Ain't no defense can stop him. He is a grown damn man. Yeah. Talk to me about that, Delilah.
No, like I honestly I strongly believe in a strong running game. Like I really do. And I think that kid, honestly, one is just kind of what like Anthony was saying is just, I feel like he's got to be up there for comeback player, right? Like honestly, like he Absolutely. Literally came back from almost losing his life and is playing just great football. So it's exciting to watch him, and I want to see him improve and continue to dominate and grow. Because honestly, that kid, you know, he's got it, man. Like so, cool. Like honestly, he's fun to watch, and I hope that he just keeps getting better and better.
I told y'all when he was at Bama. I told y'all because I was watching him at Bama. I said that boy's nasty. He's gonna.
He was one of your rookie spotlights.
He gonna do work when he come in the league. Watch. Yeah. I told Skip Bayless. I told Jenny. I called home to Sterling. I told Sterling, I said, you know what? I don't even really like Nick Saban all that much. I'm tired of him and all them commercials. He need to just retire and let Dion do him, the one with the gap go. So, but I said, Brian Robinson, if you never watched the running back before, This is the running back to watch. And what is that boy doing? He in there cooking. And you know what? Brian Robinson, he called in. He said, Shay, can I do a little cooking? And I let him in the kitchen, and he cooked up some big old fat L's last night for the Philly game.
There you go. Glad he's cooking because Russ is not. Listen, speaking of quarterbacks, Delilah, look, I got to talk about it. David brought this up. Heineken was cool and calm like Nick Foles running the Philly special. Kid ain't got nothing to lose, everything to gain. He was playing with house money in a divisional game. We got to move on to this because Carson Wentz is now healthy. He's officially healthy today. He can come back and start if necessary. But we have the hot hand. You know, Taylor's 3-1 in his last 4 games.
Right.
You know, we're 4-1 in our last 5, and now we're 5-5. So, talk to me, Delilah. Do we bench Taylor for Carson, or do we stick with the hot hand?
I mean, you have to start your starter. I mean, I get it. Like, you have to put him back out there. It's just, Sydney's saying exactly what I was saying earlier before the game. Yep. But like, I feel like Ron is in a hard place because you do have your starter back, right? Mm-hmm. And like, you know, regardless of what anybody thinks, he's your QB1. But then I could also see, like, on the other hand, you have a quarterback who's winning games for you, like, has rallied the team around him so far, you know, is getting, you know, he's, you know, we always talk about this, right? Regardless of how it's done, when you're the quarterback, right, you get the W, right? Regardless of, and so he's going to get credit for all of these. It's not to mention that his personality doesn't hurt. He's, you know, he's funny. He's a good time out there. You know, he's drinking Bud Light on the airplane.
Right.
You know, can I
get in here real quick? Kirk Cousins, take note. He didn't have to take his shirt off. All right. He could just sit there calmly and drink a beer. Thank you kindly. Go ahead, Delilah.
So yes, do I think that once he needs to go back out there, he does? Because I think that he is your starter. He's your QB hot hander. He needs to get back out there and see if he can continue that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just that simple to me. Yeah, it's to me. You got to put him back out there. Put Wentz back out there. See if you keep the hot hand going, and put Heine back at backup. Because you know, obviously at the end of the day, if it ain't working out, it's just you got him there. So it's not like you can't bench Wentz. You know what I'm saying?
And
so like, so in my opinion, you got to go with your QB1. You got to get Wentz out there and see if you can continue the hot streak because, you know, that's what I think. But hey,
Handy, what say you?
Oh, I'm going to go the complete opposite direction, sir.
There we go.
I think no offense, Delilah, but I'm gonna have to disagree.
No, not taking.
This is what I have to say about this.
That's why it's a round table.
Football, especially professional. Well, if there's any sport that has been very political about the quote unquote skill positions, it's been football. There's always this assumption that the starter gets hurt and the backup goes in, and then the starter comes back as soon as they're readily available. I think that's part of what has given quarterbacks all of this leverage, which is why they get the bigger piece of the pie, which is why they hold so much of the blame and so much of the glory with the win or the loss. Quarterback could go in and play a perfect game, no interceptions, no fumbles, no penalties. DB could miss a key play and give up a 75-yard touchdown in overtime for the loss, and the quarterback would get blamed for it because he didn't play well. This is what I'm saying. I'm going to strip all of that away, starter, non-starter, whatever. Your job, when they say, and with the blah, blah, blah pick, the such and such team selects so-and-so, quarterback, boom, boom. Your job is to show up and be quarterback of the team, regardless if you're first string, second string, third string. If the second stringer is getting the job done that the first stringer couldn't, and the first stringer is hurt, don't be afraid to make that switch. I'm going to give you 2 examples. I just brought one up about 5 minutes ago. Nick Saban, in the middle of a national championship game, took his Heisman Trophy. He was up for the Heisman. He was in the Heisman running. That boy was in the running for the Heisman. He said, nope, sit down. Tua, go play. Tua won the championship. And Tua came back as the starter the following season. And then what happened? Tua faltered, and he said, hey, Tua, hey, Jalen, come play. Mm-hmm. Bill Belichick, Drew Bledsoe led the Patriots all the way that far. got hurt. Tom Brady stepped in and won the Super Bowl. Drew Bledsoe faded off in the distance, like when Judy went up the stairs on episode 3 of Family
Okay,
Matters,
but
and we never saw her
Wentz
again.
ain't Tom Brady. I'm sorry.
Well, no, but you understand. But you understand what I'm saying.
Or Heineke.
You understand what I'm saying. Heineke is getting the job done right now.
He ain't Tom
That-
Brady.
But look,
okay.
but you, so to your point, that actually happened to Wentz already, though. You know, Wentz got hurt after being 11-1. Nick Foles came in, and you know nobody looks at Nick Foles like he's the number one guy, but he was the hot hand and led them all the way. Look, I'll put a cap on this. In my opinion, you do have to ride with the hot hand. You do have to ride. And Coach Rivera said he's going to talk to the players. He's going to go to the guys to ask them how they feel. So I'm sure Brian Robinson, that O-line, Terry McLaurin, Samuel, the defense. You know, we're getting, Chase back. We're getting the defense back and healthy. And it's like we got some momentum. We play the Texans, and then we play this team in 2 weeks. So I think that might be 2 W's. Is that back-to-back W's? Is that what that is, Anthony Handy? But look, I honestly think you have to ride the hot hand, because here's the other thing. And Delilah, you and I talked about this before the show. Derrick Henry, he got hurt midway through the season. The Tennessee Titans had to learn how to win without Derrick Henry. Well, for the playoff game, he comes back in. They have to go back to their offense and pattern it all towards him. They weren't successful. Now, other things maybe played a part, but this is kind of a similar situation where if you throw Wentz back in there, not only do we have to deal with him getting his field back because he's been out, he's got to get his legs back because he hasn't been, running and doing all that stuff, but he also has to deal with that finger. That finger's always going to be on his mind. And every time he gets close to a helmet or something, he's going to jerk back. You know what I mean? And we're not in Chicago. I know how cold it is, but we got a little nip outside. It's a little chilly out there. I had to put the sweater on. Y'all want to see sweater? Yeah, baby. Let's go. I had to command that moment. Let's get it. All right.
There's another one.
I missed one. That's fine.
I honestly, and we have the Houston Texans next, like I said, and we have the Falcons, who, no disrespect, but are struggling, kind of trying to figure that thing out. I think you let Heineke go in because these are winnable ball games. Now, if we come out next week and lose to the Texans, get out of here. Go. I'm done with you. You know what I mean? But let him see what he can do. But let me be very clear. In my opinion, Wentz is by far better. Now, Heineke can scramble out and make some plays, but Wentz is the guy. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what Ron does.
Yeah. It's his call.
Yeah, it's his call. Real quick, I do want to say RIP to his mother. His mother, Dolores, just passed away not too long ago. And I don't know if you've seen it, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't, go check it out. Ron Rivera was very emotional in the locker room. Couldn't even get the words out. And he just said she would have been so proud. And I'm just, let me step back for a second, because it was just a beautiful thing. It was absolutely a beautiful thing. But look, for all of you non-Washington fans, I am not talking about my team. I can talk about other teams. I'm going to talk about a team that seems to be taking over the league. In the game of the year, the Minnesota Vikings beat the Buffalo Bills. Oh, he's out again, 33-30. Delilah, this game went into overtime, but it was 27-10 at one point.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to me about this one. This is the best game of the year.
Let me tell you, that was a great game because no one saw that coming. Everybody just said Minnesota catch the L, whatever. They still would have been a top 3 team. Like, that's the other thing people don't understand. Even if they would have got this L, they're still top 3. They're still at the top. But anyway, regardless, honestly, they need to give a lot of thanks to their defense that stepped up and started making really the difference in stopping, Mr. Magic, right? Josh Allen took advantage of his mistakes, because he did make some costly mistakes,
Yes.
He made a lot of costly mistakes that game, and Minnesota capitalized on that. That catch by Justin Jefferson, that kid That was ridiculous. Because honestly, when that ball went and he's literally surrounded by defenders and he actually caught that, I was like, that was impressive as heck, And then Mr. Dalvin Cook ran it 81 yards back for rushing to 81 yards. That man had an 81 rushing touchdown. Mm-hmm. And so, they single-handedly, in my opinion, really brought that team back into, winning. So, honestly, that was just exciting. Kirk took advantage. I know he had 2 interceptions, but he didn't let that rattle him. Came back, they got the plays that he needed, and again, they took advantage of the Bills messing up in the end zone of all places. How they lost the ball, they fumbled in the end zone, and the defense dived on, which kudos to that guy remembering fundamentals, right? When your defensive coordinator is like, hey, if there's a ball loose, you jump on that. You take advantage. Right. They got a touchdown out of it. Literally a touchdown because they fumbled right there, right at the end zone, right at home. They got a touchdown out of that. And we were like, what just happened? Then it went into overtime. I mean, that was crazy. That was wild. That was, kudos to Minnesota. I can't hate on that. That was fun to watch. They really came back and just took advantage. Intercepted Mr. Josh Allen in the end zone as well. And that won the game in overtime. That was it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Just kudos, man. That was a lot of fun to watch.
And look, and you're absolutely right. I mean, everybody's saying game of the year, and we're going to talk about that catch in just a second. But Anthony, I've heard a lot of people kind of saying what Jared is saying. Josh Allen exactly what we thought he was, bum sauce. Now I don't know if they're saying bum sauce. We know Janae, our dear friend, thinks it's a massive piece of magic, and I gotta say, when he is on fire, he is that.
Yes, sir.
But
like NBA Jam in 1993.
Well, right, but Allen is loudly leading the league in INTs. Look, a lot of what I've heard is with Josh Allen, it's either touchdown or bust. He's going to go either make that great play, go have games like the Chiefs game in the playoffs a year ago, or he's going to have it where they're up 27-10 and you can't close out the Vikings. So what are you thinking of the Bills going forward and Josh Allen?
Well, I guess the question now is, we see this happen every so often where the term I've been using a lot as of late, lightning in a bottle. Mm-hmm. So was that season last year lightning in a bottle, especially that game with the Chiefs? Was it just one of those years where things just clicked on all cylinders? People still talk about how Timmy Smith ran for 8,000 yards in the Super Bowl and never did anything again in the NFL. Guys who were huge studs in college and get drafted and made off in obscurity after the first season. So was it a case of, right place, right time that last year? And now we're really starting to see now that we're peeling away the layers that who Josh Allen really is. That I don't have a question for. I still think Josh Allen is in there. I just can't. I can't with the nickname. I can't say it. I can't even bring myself to say it. But I think he's still in there. Something happened, and he's got to figure out a way to get by it. Yeah, kind of like George McFly getting over his shyness and punching Biff in the face. He just got to get there.
No, I'm with you. I wouldn't count that man down either. Yeah. I definitely wouldn't do that. I think if you go into a football game underestimating Josh Allen, you're definitely gonna lose. That's Absolutely. Just great. So like I said, what Minnesota did is capitalize on some mistakes. But if you go in thinking, oh, Josh Allen, he's got this, blah, 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 we're going to cook him like Minnesota did. Nah, you already lost.
Absolutely.
You already lost. You can't think that way.
I understand the interceptions, but look, in this league, you throw enough, everybody's going to get a couple. And look, they have no running game. You know what I mean? So this is going to be one of those situations where they're going to have to figure out a way that when Josh Allen is struggling to keep that running game going. You know what I mean? But now look, we all know what the score was, and they were up 27-10, but everybody's talking about one thing and one thing only. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to show it to you right now because this catch, oh my goodness. So here it is, what many deem as the catch of the year potentially. What are your thoughts, guys? I'll come to you first. Handy, what do you think?
Ball is up and contested. Oh my God, he caught it. Justin Jefferson with the catch of the year. Um, Sir, you just got mossed, Mr. Lewis.
Right.
But real thought, that right there. Oh man, wait a minute. I'm just now seeing it. I watched this 8 times yesterday. He one-handed it, and Lewis had 2 hands on the ball.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Cancel Christmas. This is the play of the year. ESPYs, are you watching? ESPYs, are you watching this? This is the play of the year right here. Period.
There it is.
I mean,
Absolutely.
the amount of strength that you have there. Think about it like this. If you arm wrestle with somebody and you wrestle with one arm and they wrestle with 2, 99.9% of the time they're going to win. He went up with one arm, with his arm back here, which physiologically speaking is not necessarily the strongest position for your arm to be in.
Oh yeah.
While leaning backwards with no leverage whatsoever because his entire body is in the air, came down and used all of his single arm strength to pull the ball away from Lewis.
Oh yeah.
Done deal. That's a done deal.
And the fact that he made sure it was a catch, just fundamentals, made sure that he didn't just grab it, he folded it in so it can't be questioned, right? And said, it's not a catch. Because we've seen it many times where we're like, right? Like, what do you mean it's not a catch? So kudos to him making sure that he not just made that impossible catch, but he made sure that they can't reverse it, right? He made sure he tucked it in and he rolled and made sure that it didn't touch the ground, tip, whatever it is that people are like, it's not a catch, right? So honestly,
that is an incredible physical feat.
Yeah, I mean, he did. Kudos to him.
I mean, fighting off another guy with 2 hands,
absolutely,
not juggling,
absolutely.
Going to the ground.
Sorry to change.
No, you're good.
I mean, look, it's got to be if it's not the catch of the year, it's got to be up there. And I'm 100% agreement with you, Handy, about ESPYs. You need to take notice. The fact that with one hand he was able to take that. I mean, come on now.
That was
catch
sick.
of the year by far.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it might win out, but I'm just saying so far it is the best catch of the year. The only reason I can't say catch of the year yet is only because we still got like 7 more weeks, 8 more weeks of football. Right. So I'm not saying it's not possible, but it is number 1 right now. It's number 1 right now. But, we just got so many weeks of football left in the regular season. That's the only reason I can't say catch of the year yet. Mm-hmm. But it is in first place at the moment.
100%.
Oh, yeah. For absolutely 100%. Sure. So look,
I'm just gonna say, dental floss.
Oh man, what's going on,
halls,
Jason? Look,
big balls.
It is absolutely right now is one of those catches. But regardless, is by far one of those most amazing that you're just sitting here looking like, you know what I mean? Like, what in the world just happened? So shout out to Justin Jefferson because obviously he's up there. He's up there, man. So we are going to quickly move on. And you know what? I'm gonna ask this question really quickly. Fingers, if you're still here, definitely tune into it. In 2022, we've seen what's happening. We've seen about all these quarterbacks doing great things, but in the NFL, is this a passing league? And real quick, or is it a rushing league? Delilah, we've talked about it. What are your thoughts, real quick?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it is more passer friendly. We know calls are made for passing games, but I still believe that you need a strong running game. Look at the Bills lost. I feel like the Bills losing is probably a prime example of, of course it's a passing league, but if you let that running game slouch, you're going to lose games. You're going to lose games because they can't wind down the clock, right? They can't slow down. They can't slow down the momentum of the other team. They can't tire out the defense, right? Because we know that's one of the reasons we have a strong running game is to tire out that defense, make them work for it. And so I don't think that we should abandon the rushing game. Like, that's just silly. But, is it more passing friendly? 100%. But we just saw the Bills lost because they don't have a strong rushing game. And so, so I feel like it's going to hurt you, like, if you don't have that strong rushing game, in my opinion.
Well, absolutely. And you know what? We're not all going to have Patrick Mahomes, Derek Carrs, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, those guys who can throw it all over the place. Some teams are going to have teams that struggle. Justin Fields, you see how he struggled. Taylor Heineke, you see how he struggled. But the thing that is able to get those teams still moving and help those quarterbacks that are struggling, the run game. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not going to compare Justin Fields to Taylor Heineke when it comes to running because Justin is by far better. But Taylor definitely has an escapability that we know Wentz doesn't necessarily have right now. And it helps because you have to respect the ability to run the ball from the quarterback standpoint. So is this a passing league? Absolutely. But in my opinion, like you said, you have to have a running game. Because even if Delilah, you just said it, nail in the head. Bills went up 27-10, couldn't finish them out because they could not run the ball consistently. So this is where we are right now with that. Mr. Fingers is going to hop back in. We're going to get him in here. But we are going to move on, Mr. Fingers. I'll ask you that. I'll let you answer that as we go. There's so many good wide receivers out there. However, you can find a good running back at Costco. Well,
really? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Imagine that based on what's been happening with some of these teams. I don't know.
I think we've seen a lot more running back by committee. And when you have at least one decently solid number one and then maybe a number two backing him up, things are definitely different. Oh, there you are. Handy, what you back? We're good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you see
we can hear you. Yes, we can see you and hear you. Yeah.
I was looking, I've got the phone here. I'm looking at the YouTube feed. I'm like, I can see. I'm like, I know I'm not that black. Come on, fam. We picked the wrong night to wear all black. What are my thoughts? Passing league or running league? Well, I put it to you like this. It is definitely a passing league. It should be, like Delilah said, it should be a combination of both. But we know what puts butts in the seats. Quarterbacks going out slinging for 300, 400,
Absolutely.
300, 400 yards. Maybe once or twice a year. There's really only one or two running backs that are allowed to shine. Like the biggest running backs in the league right now, King Henry, Nick Chubb, Pollard is on the come up. He really hasn't
Mixon.
done a whole bunch. JT, right? You got a few, but for the most part, it's all about getting that. Like, what are they looking for in the draft? A quarterback. Quarterbacks are always first, second round. Running backs, third, fourth, fifth. So the front offices have leaned towards having those quarterbacks with those arms and having those receivers that can run like cheetahs and all of that good stuff, and hands like Justin Jefferson. So I definitely think that the league is definitely a passing league. It is by design a passing league.
Yeah,
but
for
they
sure.
need to bring that back to 50-50.
Yeah, because let's not forget that Dalvin Cook helped win that game. I feel like I love Justin, but he still had an 81-yard rushing touchdown. They couldn't stop him. Like, he mowed down. I mean, he's a big dude. Dalvin Cook's a big guy, and he just mowed down everybody. And so, like, I do feel like that is a difference maker. Like, if you're trailing or if they start shaking your quarterback, right, and you got to get to the running game. Like, a lot of these elite teams have been losing, right, with these elite quarterbacks because their running game ain't strong, right? Because once they start shaking Tom Brady, I know he's won some games, guys, but when they shake them, they don't have a strong running back core right now to make up that difference. So they were dropping a lot of games. Yeah. So I do feel like, again, Bills, they only have a Singletary. That's pretty much it, right? Like,
but he's a pass catcher.
But you know what I mean? So, like, they don't have the 49ers, their running game, they have so many people they can actually count on. They got CMC. Debo, they need him to switch. We know that, right? And he's got the incentive. So actually, if he wants to, they'll pay him, right? To get these these rushing yards and get these rushing touchdowns and stuff. And so I do feel like let's not be too hasty in making sure that you don't have a strong running game. That's all. Is it a pass league? Yes. But don't drop your running game. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we all know that in order to stop, the number one way that is proven to stop these great quarterbacks is to make sure that they're sitting on the sideline for most of the game. I mean, Washington had 40 minutes out of a 60-minute game, 40 minutes of time of possession last night. Okay? Hurts didn't have an opportunity to beat us because he wasn't on the field for most of the first half for sure, but for most of the game. And it makes a difference. So definitely have to have that running back. Yeah, buddy. But look, we have to move on. That was the coin toss. We appreciate you guys talking and going back and forth in the chat.
Thanks for watching. If you liked that clip, be sure to check out the other great content from the Let's Talk Football community. And as always, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when more great content like this becomes available.